Happy Thursday, everybody. And what a beautiful day it is today. Look at this. Eh? Blue skies in Ripley. I'm a little blue as well. Another job to do on the 405 today, guys. Something nice and simple. We're doing a battery change. There's no point looking under the bonnet on these because it's under the back. So what I've got to do first of all is clean all this shite out. Because, as everybody knows, when you've got a bigger car, you always manage to fill it up with shite. I've got signage, I've got boots, I've got toolkits, I've got PPE, first aid boxes, you name it, guys. I've got everything in here, and the battery is underneath that lot. Spare wheel out and everything. You need to be fucking Jeff Capes to flipping lift the spare wheel on these things, guys, but you'll find that out in a minute. Well, I got my new battery delivered. I bought this off eBay. It's actually made by Varta. It's like a Power Plus AGM start-stop battery. This hasn't got start-stop, this truck. Start-stop versions after 2019, I think, they have a second battery. But I've put it on my old Noco trickle charger overnight, just to make sure it's topped up before I change it. And that's the one that's going on. If you want a link to where these batteries are from, it's an eBay seller. They've got really high ratings. This I think I got for about £137. It's Varta. It's the same as they put in the BMWs and things like that, the big old 7 Series and the 6 Series. So yeah, that's a new battery. I've also been and bought, it's cost me a bloody arm and a leg, a Gap IID tool. And I really, really recommend, guys, that you buy one if you've got a Range Rover. 570 quid, mind. But these are the next best thing to dealership level diagnostics. You can do resets. That battery's got to be programmed to the car, and I can do it at a push of a button. I'll go through all this after, actually, with you, and I'll show you the Gap tool. But yeah, I can't rate them enough. And £570 is a bloody lot of money. But if you were going to Range Rover or a Range Rover specialist, they'd be costing a fortune just to hook it up to the diagnostics to tell you what's wrong with it. 3 or 4 visits. Trust me, that would have paid for the Gap IID, and you could have it in your glove box. It just plugs in under the OBD2 port under the steering wheel, and it's there. You know, if you've got a problem, you're out in the middle of nowhere, you can tell exactly what it is, and whether to risk driving it home or whether it's something where you'd have to tow the machine home or get it transported. So enough about that. Let's get on with emptying the back of this flipping shit tip out, and I'll show you where the battery is. Okay, so 6 ton of shit later, finally cleared out the boot. This is where the battery is, gents and ladies. So I lift this little old thing up here, pull this out. There should be a wheel on this that holds through the centre of the spare wheel, holds it all in place. But we're sort of, this is the heavy bit. Let's get the light bits out of the way first. There's no way I'm going to film this, but needless to say, it's a full-size spare, and it's going to be a bloody struggle to get out. A little bit later, spare wheel's out. This thing's never been on. That's the original wheel off the car, guys. A very nice turbine style silver one. Weighs a bloody ton. But anyway, you're left with this. There's the compressor. The compressor's held in by, I think, a 10mm there, and a couple of bolts somewhere at the back. Oh no, here, under the earth strap. 10mm. 1, 2, just 2, and the whole compressor should lift out. That's coming out on Saturday anyway, because I'm having a few issues with my compressor. I bought a new one from Poland, but we'll get into that on the weekend. That'll be a different video, guys, because this seems to get really hot, this compressor, and when I'm lifting the suspension or lowering it, it's normally takes a lot longer to lift, so I think it's getting a bit tired now. It's probably the original, but as I said, Saturday we'll get another video. So under here, that's the wedges and tyre jack. The proper jack for the wheels up the back there, look. that's pretty much it. So I'll get this compressor up and out of the way, and then we can see the battery. There's no strap on the battery, and there's no bolts down the side to clamp it in. This actually clamps the battery into place. So as long as you've got a 10mm, that should lift straight out after. Oh, hang on a minute. Mrs. C is home with a shiny little car. Went for its MOT this morning, guys, and it passed. No advisories, straight through. She's a happy little bunny, Mrs. C, at the moment. She had a service light on the dashboard, but I used my new Gap IID tool to plug into her car as well and reset all that for her and do a diagnostic on it. Yeah, she's happy. Yeah, I was right what I said. 10mm. Like the ratchet, guys. Werder, Germany. Very, very nice. So we'll just get these 10mm out. We got one here. God, that's a long bolt. Put them somewhere I'm not going to lose them. There's one here under the earth strap, which is a tight one. There we go. I think they're all the same size, same length. That's two. Just got to make sure you've got that earthing strap out the way, because a little bracket will catch it. There we go. So the compressor now pulls out that way, like that, and you just fold it over. There you go, she's out the way. There's your battery. So you've got a little bit of foam padding on it. Oh, it's got an X-side battery in there already, AGM battery. I don't see a date on it though. Let's see if I can find a date on it. So it's had a new battery at some point, I just don't know when. Right, so that's 10mm. Always take the earth off first, the black one, and then you take your red positive off after last. When you come to refit the battery, guys, put your earth on first and then put your positive on last. That's the way you do it. No, I'm full of shit. When you come to refit it, put your positive on first and then the earth on last. What a dick. Oh dear. All these plug sockets look alright. If you come across this in the back, which is just like a 2-core cable with a little green tip on it, don't start doing what I did and wondering where it plugs into. It doesn't plug into anything, guys. When the Range Rovers are new and it goes on the back of a car transporter, they actually plug this in somewhere, and it's for transport mode only. So when it's delivered, they unplug it. So that just tucks away. Don't worry about that at all. See that plug? Do not worry about it, guys. It is not supposed to be plugged in anywhere at all. It just tucks away when you've changed the battery over. Oh, there's a little clip I lost as well. So I took the top of the compressor off the other day, but we'll get to that on Saturday. Right, next stop, 10mm, negative off, then positive. When you take your negative off, the first one, look, there's that little plug there. See that? Just disconnect it. And you can fold that out the way and fold this back underneath the carpet somewhere. There we go. That's the negative off. Now we'll do the same with the positive, guys. So everything on this is 10mm. That just pulls up. Got something weird on the end of that. Don't know what it is. Some sort of fuse or something, I should imagine. But that just tucks away. Now, technically, there's the battery drain vent. I'll just tuck that away as well. Just everything under the carpet. That should now just lift straight out, which it does. I wouldn't say, really, that was a very old battery, guys. It's an X-side. Not a bad battery at all. but I just don't see a date on it. There must be a date somewhere. But I just don't know where it is. Doesn't look all that old, but then again it's tucked away inside the back there. It's going to be clean, isn't it? I'll keep looking. So, next step, in reverse, get that back down in there. Remember, red that side, black that side. Negative, positive, guys. See what shite's in the battery box. Not a lot of it. Anything really. Another clip off the compressor, which means somebody's been into this compressor before. Okay, same in reverse. Drop the battery back in. That fits just nicely. Tuck them down. So we need to put the positive on first. That just drops in like that. There we go. If you've got any bits of like a grease type thing, just put a little bit on it, and it'll stop any corrosion. But this shouldn't be corroding because it's tucked away in the boot. So I'll just nip it up. I'm not going to bother with the grease. I'll just give it a bit of a nip up. Don't have to go mad on it. You don't have to be Garth. For those who remember who Garth was, just give it a bit of a nip. There you go. It's about 25 newtons. Not FT as I call it, which is fucking tight. Forget that. So that's positive on. Now you're left with these bits. So, negative, last thing. Drop the negative back in. There we go. Just spin that around a bit. Tighten that back up. Just give it a bit of a shake and a wobble just to make sure it's seated on the post. There we go, that's nice. And we'll just fasten that up. Give it a little nip. Yeah. Right, so don't forget, you've got to put that plug back on here, guys. A little green plug. Can only fit on one way, so don't worry about it. That's it, that's back on. Then just tuck everything away neatly, back down there. Remember, you don't have to worry about that transport cable. Don't worry about that at all. You can just tuck that away, just chuck that down in there out of the way. That just confuses people. That's for the battery vent, but I don't see a battery vent point on this anyway, so I've just tucked that away there. So that's them, that's where they should be. It's tight, they're tight. You put this little bit of shite back on again. It just sits somehow. Something like that. And then we can put the compressor back on, and that'll clamp the battery back down. So I have to slide it back into that way first, and then do that bolt and that bolt. Interesting stuff. So firstly, I found some clips missing, which I found underneath here, which means somebody's messed about with the compressor in the past. And also that battery doesn't look all that old that's in the car. Doesn't mean to say it's not old, just means to say it doesn't look very old. So let's just tuck that back in there. There's like 2 prongs. There we go, that's in. And then obviously that has to sit under that earth clip. That's it. And everything I'll just bolt up there. Where's my bolts? One in here. It's a bit awkward having that earth strap there, but it doesn't matter. So that's one bolt, and then the other bolt at the front here, and that'll clamp the battery down. I've noticed as well that this bit of foam is now seated properly. Before it wasn't, so again, that wasn't the original battery, guys. No way. Now the interesting thing is, because we've changed the battery on the car, we've got to now tell the ECUs, or the brain of the car, that it's had a new battery. And it's got to be programmed to the car. Now a lot of these DIY code readers you can buy, they will do it, you know, if you get an Autel one or something like that. But I've opted for the GAP IID tool, which I'll show you in a minute. Because you've got to relearn the car that it's got a new battery, the BMS, or the battery management system, which is very easy to do. And again, I don't want to be taking it to Range Rover for them to just do it when I've got a machine or a code reader and a diagnostic device which will do it for me. So again, it saved me some money already, just changing a battery. Right, that's solid. That can stay there now till Saturday, because I'm having the top off that Saturday and changing that compressor that's inside. And we'll see how that goes. That's all tight. Battery's changed, guys. Simple as that. Now let's get in the car, strike up this code reader. I'll show you all about it, and then we'll do the reset on it. Can't get over how nice the day is today. It's so sunny, guys. Beautiful. I think I'll get in that jacuzzi later. Look at that. Wow. Sun. Right, so we've got power back onto the car, obviously. A little start. But I need this little thing. This is what I bought. This is what £570 gets you on eBay. It's the GAP IID, made in Canada. But honestly, it's the best thing out here for Range Rover buyers, guys. And it's just literally a little Bluetooth dongle. You don't get a lot for your money, do you? That's it. You have to activate it. It's locked to the car. I can use it on like Mrs. C's car, like I did earlier on, but with limited things I can do on it. But on this one, it's VIN locked, what they call VIN locked. I can do absolutely everything. Now under here, under the dash, there's a place where you plug it in. It's literally here, guys. It only goes in one way. There you go, that just sits in there like that. This is the boring bit. Oh, shut the door. Right, let's go and find my phone. Alrighty, so I've got my phone. In here, I've got a little, it's what they call the GAP IID tool app. And that just sort of tells you it's not connected, and to connect to the last tool. There's a lot of reflection on the screen actually. I hope you can see this, guys. So what I'm going to do is just put the car into first position. When I say first position, I mean don't put your foot on the brake. Don't, just push that. Everything comes on. Everything's fine. Not a worry. That's fine. Turn the music off. That's that. I'll just turn the climate off as well. So everything seems to be working, but there's loads of hazard triangles and stuff on the screen. That means there's going to be a lot of fault codes, because I've just unplugged everything on the bloody car, haven't I? So first thing we do, we're going to connect to the last tool. There we go. Trying to reconnect. Loaded, 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 loaded. We're just going to read the faults. Faults will be read. Continue. Hope you can see this, guys. Scanning modules. I think there's 40 on here. I think there's 40. Right, so I can see we've got 12.2 volts in the battery at the moment. So we've got faults on the full control, the gateway module, the ventilation, the camera, telematics. Oh, man, never mind. Doesn't matter. So I'll just clear them. Let's just clear them and see what comes back. It'll clear all the faults and then it'll read them again. 38 ECUs. 41, 42, 42 ECUs on a Range Rover, guys. Electronic control units. 42. Right, now, all that's telling me now, there's one fault. FC dim front control, which is lost communication with front control interface module B, which is basically that, because that's an aftermarket one. We've taken the one with the knobs on it out and have put an aftermarket in, so I'd expect to see that, guys. I really would. That's not a problem. There's no more faults. So let's come out of that. What we're going to do now is we're going to go into service and test. We're going to go into, oh, God knows, engine maybe? No, it's not that one. It'll be body control BCM. All right, here we go, look. I don't know if you can read that. You can add a key, you can replace the battery, secondary battery, that's for the start-stop models. TCU battery replacement, God knows how many it is. Check how many keys I learnt to this car. You can learn the driver's door glass, or the passenger's door glass, and the roof plane calibration. So what we're going to do then, battery replacement, we'll just click that. Proceed with this routine. Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to execute that routine. Waiting 8 seconds for ECU initialization. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. Clearing faults. Land Rover cost about 90 quid just to do that, guys. Operation succeeded. That's it. That is it. Just how many keys has this car got? I know I've got 2 keys. I'm just going to check. Proceed with this routine. Executing. 3 keys are programmed for this car, guys. 3 keys. I've only got 2. 1 valid key is detected, which is this one down here. I've got a spare one in my safe. But where's that 3rd key, I wonder? So somebody, somewhere, has got a 3rd key for this car. I wonder if I can delete a lot of them. I don't know. Right, let's just go back. We'll go through the faults again, just make sure everything's good. I mean, I could go on for hours about this, how good this is, guys. I really could. It's bloody expensive, but, you know, it does everything. You've got live data, you can monitor sensors, see if they're getting voltage. I can set all my height up on my suspension, test the valves, test the compressor. Yeah, it's just that one fault, guys. So this car's only got one fault, and that is completely down to the fact that I've put that aftermarket head screen in there. That's not a problem. I did something funky the other day. I went into car configuration, and when I lock the car, it's like the old BMWs, it chirps. So beep, beep. Now outside the car it chirps when you actually flash the indicators. Quite impressed with that. Right, that's it. Let's disconnect that. We're going to disconnect. Yes, that's it, guys. Bob's your ante. And then let's just start it up. Foot on brake, hit the button. Oh, yeah, first time. No problems. Just telling me my tailgate's open. That's not an issue. Okay. So, idiot's guide to changing a battery on your Land Rover, on your Range Rover, guys. Just do yourself a favour. I know they're fucking expensive, guys, but get one of these gap IID tools. You can get them on Amazon, you can get them on eBay. Actually, no, I didn't see them on Amazon. You get them on eBay, and you can probably get them as low as 540 quid. But they're just worth their weight in gold, guys. They really, seriously are worth their weight in gold. The IID tool, I don't even know if that's going to focus on it. Probably not. Gap IID, that's what you need. Right, for me, over and out, guys. I'm going to get something to eat. I'm going to hit that jacuzzi later on. And Saturday, I'm going to do that compressor, because the car's sitting a bit uneven, and every time I try and do a calibration with this tool, the compressor starts to overheat, which it's just worn. So thanks for subscribing, thanks for watching. All the usual garbage I'm supposed to say at the end of a video. Thank you for the comments, especially about the other Land Rover videos I've done. You out there, you know exactly who you are. You was asking me how you keep the plastics nice under the bonnet. So I gave you the secret tip. Hope it comes in handy for you. Thanks for the comments, thanks for subscribing, guys. You're always welcome, and it's people like you just watching the videos that makes things like this worth it for me. You know, the channel's all about Mrs. C and me, you know, me marrying a Filipino. And no, we didn't buy her. She wasn't a mail order bride. You'd never get her through the letterbox, let's face it. But, you know, there's parts of the channel that's about her car, my car, and the little adventures we have. So again, thanks for watching. Take care, guys. And if you want to leave a comment, please do. Please subscribe. I say that every time and no bugger does. I must be shit, I really must be. But please subscribe. Okay, and then as I'm learning things about my 405, which cost me an arm and a bloody leg, I can share it with you. That's what YouTube's about, guys. Bye for now.